Am I the butthole for not participating in my fiance's weird Christmas underwear tradition? This year, I celebrated Christmas with my fiance's family for the first time. Before we went to my fiance's parents' house, my fiance warned me that his parents usually come short in the amount of food they cook for Christmas dinner, and that there's often not enough for everyone. What I didn't see coming, though, was to be expected to participate in their family's weird tradition. Apparently, they have a long-standing tradition where, instead of drawing straws, they'll throw all their underwear in a bin and then go take turns wearing a blindfold and drawing a pair of underwear from the pile. And drawing the smallest pair of underwear correlates to drawing the smallest straw. I had never heard of this tradition, so I felt blindsided when, right before Christmas dinner, my fiance's mom yelled out that it was time to pull the straws to decide the order of who got to plate up their food first in case there wasn't enough for everyone. At first, I thought that his family was joking when they announced this, so I laughed, which made my fiance get real defensive. I volunteered to get my food last so I wouldn't have to participate. But my fiance just got more annoyed and asked me to just try it to be more agreeable. The whole thing was just kind of weirding me out, so I called an Uber and went home. Now, things are real tense between me and my fiance, since he now says that I made a bad impression by acting like I was too good for their family traditions. Am I the butthole? OP, I have so many questions. First of all, are these fresh pears? Like when she said it's time to draw straws, are you expected to jump into the bathroom, whip off your underwear, and throw it in the bin? Or is it at least freshly laundered underwear? Second, when you pull them from the bin, are you guys using your hands or are you going in bobbing for apples style? Third, why are you handling other people's underwear before eating dinner? That's the perfect thing to set the mood for a nice Christmas roast, isn't it? Reaching into a bin and pulling out Grandpa's crusty underwear? Yeah, that really gives me an appetite. Yum. Look, if this family wants to have this weird tradition where sons are pulling out their mother's underwear and fathers are pulling out their daughter's underwear, then whatever. I guess that's okay. But to expect OP to join in on this tradition is crazy. I just gotta remind you, OP, I gotta say, you said your fiance's family and not your husband's family. So it's not too late. Why doesn't this family just ask people to bring more food? Instead of saying, show me your casserole, they're like, show me your asshole. All right, hold on. There's no way this is this bad. Let me see if OP's had a comment explaining the situation. He insists that it's very common and that all his friends did this with their families growing up too. That is a lie. It is not common unless they grew up in a cult. She says, it's not that the smallest person doesn't get to eat, it's that person who draws the smallest pair of underwear potentially doesn't get to eat. She says, apparently it's a long-standing tradition that whenever the family wants to pull straws to settle something, they all use their current underwear? Their current underwear? No! Yo, this family is showing off period stains and skid marks and discharge and ball sweat. Hey, check this out, Mom. That's my most recent skid mark. So what's for dinner? You ready to eat? I'm starved. Am I the butthole for telling my friend's dad that my mom returned everything he got me for store credit for herself? So last year, my mom married Mark and we moved to a new state. We have a 3-bedroom house. My mom and Mark have one room. Mark's 10-year-old daughter, Lily, has her own room. And I, a 13-year-old girl, share a room with my brothers, who are 16, 18, and 22. Mark doesn't want my mom to work, but he also doesn't give her money for us because that's our dad's job, so I was kinda on my own to get anything I needed. A guy at my school noticed that I didn't have lunch most of the time, so he started bringing extra food for me. Then I started going to his house after school. His family has been really nice to me. They take me out with them, and they got me a new pair of shoes because mine were too small. That family went all out for me for Christmas. I got 2 pairs of boots, 2 pairs of shoes, 6 pairs of jeans, 4 leggings, like 20 shirts, 2 jackets, a raincoat, rain boots, umbrella, new backpack and water bottle, and even hair stuff and some makeup. They also got me glasses, but that wasn't really a Christmas present. Oh my God. My mom took every single item back for store credit, and she used it to get herself stuff. My friend's dad picked me up the day after Christmas to take me to camp, and I told him what happened. He called Child Protective Services, and they came to camp to talk to me a couple of days later. Then they came to my house, and now I'm staying with a friend and his dad. Whoa! He reordered everything he got me, plus he had to go into Target and some other stores to get a couple things until everything gets here. But my mom is really mad that I told him, and she's saying I got her in a lot of trouble, so I wanted to know if I was wrong for telling him that she was returned everything. Oh my God, this story! Man, even after reading the title, I was still shocked. First off, shocked at this family. They have a 13-year-old boy. I mean, maybe he's got a crush, so maybe that's why he's paying so much attention to OP. But, you know, crush or no crush, it's still incredibly nice, selfless, kind for a 13-year-old boy to notice that his classmate doesn't have lunch and then tell his parents so he can pack extra lunches for this girl that he barely knows. Then this family buys this girl what has to be, I don't know, like $500 worth of stuff? Just because she's a growing child who needs support and her actual family isn't doing it, so this family's like, okay, we'll step up then. And the audacity of this mother to steal from her own 13-year-old child. Oh my God. And I'd also like to point out just how bad it is to force a 13-year-old girl to share a room with 3 brothers when another 10-year-old girl gets a room all by herself. Why not put the girls in a room and put the boys in a room? Isn't that the logical thing to do? OP is being so neglected by her family, and this other family is so kind. Man, OP, look at it. OP, look at it this way. If your mom did nothing wrong, then CPS will have nothing to say to her, right? Pretty simple. But she's the one not buying things for her kid. She's the one stealing from her child. She's the one neglecting her 13-year-old daughter. I hope that this other family adopts OP and she gets to grow up in a supportive family. I don't think that'll happen because that's kind of like the dreamland scenario. But man, wouldn't that be a sweet ending? OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your mom 3.5 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your friend's family -5 out of 5 buttholes. They are some of the kindest people I've read about in this subreddit in a long time. Am I the butthole for refusing to call my niece anything but her chosen name? I'm a 27-year-old woman and my husband is 33. We're currently taking care of my husband's recently orphaned 8-year-old niece with the plan to later adopt her. Her first name is Kelly and her middle name is Ann, but she prefers to be called Ann and has been that way for a few years now. She introduces herself as, "My name is Kelly Ann last name, but you can call me Ann." My 29-year-old sister is 8 months pregnant with her first child, and several months ago found out that it's a girl. She's always wanted to name her daughter Ann, and is excitedly telling everyone. Upon learning of Kelly Ann's situation and how my husband and I plan to adopt her, my sister told me a few days afterwards that we should start telling Kelly Ann to call herself Kelly instead of her middle name. She said that having 2 Anns in the family will be confusing, so Kelly Ann needs to get used to being called Kelly. My husband said that she was being ridiculous. And if anything, it's her baby that needs renaming because Kelly Ann has been calling herself Ann for years. My sister argued that she announced her baby's name months ago, and we only plan to adopt Kelly Ann recently. So we should be the ones making her rethink how to call herself. I took my husband's side, and I told my sister that Kelly Ann can name herself whatever she wants to. My sister and her husband are calling us buttholes for stealing her baby's name. So, am I the butthole? Alright, hold on. Before I get too deep into this, let me check the comments and see if OP says why. She didn't say anything. I'm really curious about why the parents are dead, like how she became an orphan, just how tragic is this girl's backstory. But we may never know, unfortunately. Alright, well, in any event, this just feels like tough luck. Tough. Deal with it. Too bad, so sad, sister. Either change your baby's name or get used to the idea of having 2 Anns in the family. It's not even that big of a deal to have 2 Anns. So what? I like this comment from Cat Offspring. Note to all users, as of today, 10th of January 2024, the name Ann is no longer permitted on this sub or anywhere else in the world. OP Sister currently has all rights reserved. So you heard it here first. If there's any Anns watching this video, tough luck. guess you gotta change your name. What can you do about it? You can't have two Anns. That's just ridiculous. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. What you're doing, taking in... I almost called her Kelly. What you're doing, taking in Ann into your family and adopting her after she lost both of her parents, presumably, is super, super sweet, OP. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your sister... I think 1 out of 5 buttholes. 8 months pregnancy she's probably hopped up on pregnancy hormones, so I'm hoping that once the dust settles, she'll be more clear-minded, but who knows, maybe she is genuinely this crazy. Am I the butthole for blocking my door off to my room with my bed to prevent my cousins from using it as a guest room? I'm a 15-year-old girl, and I was born in Madrid, Spain to Spanish parents, but we immigrated to the US when I was 1, and we've lived here ever since. We do go back to visit my grandparents and whatnot, but this year they came to us. I live in a small 2-bedroom house with my parents. I'm an only child, so I get one room to myself and my parents get the other. There isn't enough space for my grandparents, plus my uncle and his wife and kids. My grandparents booked a hotel near to the house, but my uncle is too cheap for that. He wants me to give up my room for his kids while he and his wife sleep on an inflatable bed beside them in my room. I explained to them that I have sleeping issues and I would appreciate keeping my room. He kept insisting and annoying my parents about it until they finally caved in and told me to sleep on the couch in the living room. I didn't want to give up my room, so when night came last night, I rolled my bed to the door and locked it for extra security so they couldn't get in. Of course, they were upset and they tried to get my parents to come and open the door and let them in, but I didn't budge. I kept my room for the entire night. Morning, I wake up expecting a shit show. Basically, I got yelled at for having a tantrum and for not making a small sacrifice. I understand that what I did seems like a tantrum, but I don't feel like they're entitled to my room. I pointed out that my grandparents got a hotel and they could have done the same. Am I the butthole? Okay, down in the comments, I'm seeing a mix of OP is the butthole and OP is not the butthole. And I actually have a unique perspective here that I think can shed some light on the controversy. I think that if you're American or Canadian, you're probably way more inclined to say that OP is not the butthole because, of course, it's her room. She has every right to her room. And me, personally, I agree with that take because I'm an American and that's kind of how Americans think. However, I got to admit, there's a bit of a culture clash here. I don't know too much about the familial culture of Spain, but I can say with a Chinese wife and having been to China many times that if I tried to pull this stunt with Chinese relatives visiting, the Chinese visitors would be so deeply wounded, be very, very rude. So some cultures are just a little bit more collectivist, putting others before yourself or the entire family before the individual, and I can definitely understand why they would say that OP is the butthole. The thing is, I don't know what it's like in Spain. I wish I did. Any Spanish viewers out there can shed some light on this, let me know in the comments. Spanish as in from Spain, not Spanish as in Spanish speaking. I could definitely understand them being more collectivist because my understanding is it's super common for Latino adult children, I don't know how you say adult children, like 18 to 25. I think it's more common for them to live with their parents compared to Americans who are typically out of the house at like 18, 19. So I don't know. I guess kind of depending on how you look at this, I think I'm going to give 0 out of 5 buttholes across the board because everyone has a reasonable position here, I think. Am I the butthole for not continuing my reception after my husband went behind my back? I'm a 25-year-old woman, and this story happened when I was getting married to my now husband Lucas, who's 26. We decided to tie the knot because we were having a little girl together and we're madly in love. So leading up to the wedding day, Lucas told me that his best man, Jacob, wanted to propose to his girlfriend because it would be a great time and a nice venue to do it at. I said that I didn't want his friend to propose at our wedding because it's our special moment, not theirs, and that they can do it sometime else. Lucas told me that his friend was mad, but I don't care. I just wanted our wedding to be about us because it's our special day. After the disagreement, I thought nothing of it. Fast forward to the wedding day. We had finished the church service and we were now at the reception and we're all having fun eating. I'm eating my food and then Jacob stops the music at the DJ booth to make an announcement. At that moment, I just knew that he was going to propose. I looked to see where Lucas was, and he was holding red and white roses, walking out to stand in front of his girlfriend, spelling out, "Will you marry me?" I was shocked that they went behind my back when I said no. I got up out of my seat and walked out. It's been 2 days since the wedding, and my husband cursed me out for not letting them have a special moment. I responded with, I wanted the day to be about us because it's our wedding, not theirs, and I'm happy for them, but the worst thing was even though I said no, you went behind my back about it. Since this argument, he moved to the guest bedroom, and now most of my friends are cursing me out on social medias. Am I the butthole?